Mr. Carbajal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Miller, last Congress, many of my colleagues and I worked on crafting landmark legislation to invest in our infrastructure, reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, and create good paying jobs. Through the bipartisan infrastructure law, the American Rescue Plan, and the Inflation Reduction Act, we have been able to do all three. However, I do understand that workforce availability is a challenge for the transportation sector. As we continue to oversee federal dollars from the bipartisan infrastructure law and the Inflation Reduction Act hit the ground, what are some of the considerations this committee should take into consideration and account to ensure that we maximize our federal investments?
Congressman, there are a lot of things on my list there. We are working right now in Washington State to bring more women and people of color into the construction trades. When we see folks aging out of industry, it's important that we take advantage of every pool of individuals available to us. Part of that is making the workplace a welcoming place for everyone who's engaged. Part of that is providing the training. Part of that, frankly, is getting people interested in our work. And that's going to require us to get down to like the elementary and middle school level on just the whole issue of math, science, and technology. There are lots of folks. I go and speak at the University of Washington to graduating civil engineers, and they're not interested in the transportation space because I had a bunch of them say, my focus is on the environment. Why should I get into transportation? You talk to them a little bit and they figure that out, but we're not having those conversations. It's incumbent on industry to be reaching out. It's incumbent on our educational institutions to be reaching out. We need to get young people interested in and excited about the futures that exist in this space, knowing that you can have a job with good pay and benefits and retirement and the like in the construction trades without a four-year college degree. People don't know that, don't get that. So I think there's an awful lot that we need to do in the education space. What we're able to do at the Washington State DOT with funding from the federal government and from our state legislature is directly engage with community colleges in Washington State, with church groups in Washington State, with labor unions in Washington State, with contractors in Washington State, with Native American tribes on getting the people that they care about, getting the people that they want to see succeed into the transportation space. So I would encourage the Congress, as you consider reauthorization, workforce is going to be huge. There needs to be resources there, but the resources need to be flexible. The way, we don't use federal money in our pre-apprenticeship support services work. We're doing things like buying tools for apprentices, buying boots. And my Office of Equity and Civil Rights lead says, when you use federal money, you can buy the boots, but you can't buy the laces. Because, so the funding is important, the flexibility is important, and just the acknowledgement of the scale of the problem.
Thank you. Mr. Tucker, as a former chair of the Coast Guard and Maritime Transportation Subcommittee and now ranking member, I was able to work on advancing the Ocean Shipping Reform Act of 2022, written by Representative Garamendi and Johnson. Can you discuss how the Ocean Shipping Reform Act of 2022 is helping to alleviate the supply chain crisis?
Congressman, thank you for the Ocean Shipping Reform Act. As I said, I'm not the ideal candidate to speak to ocean issues. However, the TIA is extremely appreciative and supportive, in particular for creating definition around unreasonable demurrage and detention fees, trying to reverse the trend of a few ocean carriers using retaliatory practices against manufacturers and shippers. So thank you for your support.
You did a darn good job knowing the issue, though. Thank you. Mr. Chair, I yield back.